Ladies and gentlemen and wrestling fans around the world, before we get the show started, I think it's very important to note that former WWE superstar and professional wrestler, son of WWE Hall of Famer and brother to current WWE superstar Roman Reigns, Matt Anoa'i, also known as Rosie, has passed away at the age of 47. Rosie had a pretty damn good career in WWE, tag team champions with Shane Hurricane Helms, and of course, member of tag team 3 Minute Warning with also departed, unfortunately, Umaga. Let's all take a moment to remember and reflect on the career and life of Matt Anoa'i.
Real talk, the Metaphor Messiah, man. I got this one. Let's go. You ever seen the morning star? Mr. Metaphor Messiah, back to show you who we are. I represent a legacy, a pothead like the 70s, a different kind of mind. They say we only speak in melodies.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dead on Dave, and I am here for your copious Raw review, brought to you by, of course, WrestleCrate.uk. And if you're new to WrestleCrate and you want to get the UK version, you're in Europe, you're in Australia, New Zealand, all kinds of other places, go ahead, check them out. And if you do get your first one, use promo code DEADONDAVE to save 10%. All right, kids, Monday Night Raw happened last night, and overall, I got to say, a very solid show. I was entertained for the majority of it. What I wanted to do was very simple. Come on here and tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, and what worried me about Monday Night Raw. So let's not gild the lily. Let's get right into it. Let's start with what I enjoyed. Let's do it. I think it's pretty easy to know where we should start. Probably the best thing that happened on all of Monday Night Raw, and that's not to devalue the rest of the show, but Braun Strowman and the entire main event situation. I think a lot of people have been back and forth, me being one of them, on Braun Strowman during the course of his career, albeit very short, in the WWE. But right now, it's hard to deny anything that he is on a meteoric rise. He's getting better each and every week. He's entertaining, he's captivating, and he's becoming what WWE truly wants in a top guy, because they have so few of these, a spectacle. And that's what we saw last night with Big Show. A lot of people might have been a little hesitant. They're doing the Big Show match again. They just did it a few weeks ago. It had some good spots in it, but overall it did drag a little bit. Do we really want to see him again in a main event spot? But given the destruction that we saw Braun Strowman get involved with last week, it made a lot of sense to try to bring it down a little bit and show that he could be vulnerable, but at the same time, just show how indestructible he truly can be. And I think they achieved that. Not only the early stuff, yes, he kind of stumbled over and didn't look all that comfortable with a microphone in his hand, but that's all right. Kurt Angle didn't really do him too many favors in that spot as well. But as the night wore on with him attacking people and subsequently getting into a match with the Big Show, you couldn't be more impressed with what they were able to do, especially in that main event spot in a crowd that wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire there in Ohio either. Not a terrible crowd, but kind of a crowd that seemed to sit on their hands. They didn't for the main event. They seemed captivated, inspired, awed, the whole thing. They were there for a spectacle, and they certainly got it. Big Show and Braun Strowman delivered. I got to give a lot of credit to Big Show for showing exactly how these super heavyweight contests should be wrestled. You don't see him wrestle this well very often anymore, but they did a very good job, both of these guys. And of course, the end segment, the ring implosion. It's a spot that we've seen a few times now, and WWE does like to go to this well a little bit too often. Sometimes I feel we've seen it now. I think this is the good sixth or seventh time that we've seen it in the WWE, maybe 4 or 5, but who really keeps track anymore? I'm sure one of you guys will correct me in the comment section. Go! But this is my favorite one to date. this is my favorite version of it to date. There was something about the way the referee sold. I don't know if he had a lot of choice. He went flying out of the ring. That was awesome. The way that the ring, there wasn't a big hesitation. The way it went down, and the sound that it made was fantastic. People are always going to point to Brock Lesnar and Big Show as the gold standard, and I think that maybe you can make that argument that it is, you know, but at the same time, this one, I don't know why I liked it. They teased it 3 or 4 times throughout the match, and then they gave it to us at the end, and I thought they did so in spectacular fashion. And here's the thing that we really haven't seen before. One of the guys getting up after, and it was a little nuance, but it was a cool nuance, and I enjoyed it. Braun Strowman getting back to his feet and just owning the moment. It was great. It was breathtaking. It was a full-on spectacle, and I absolutely loved it. I'm going to put this main event over big time because I thought they did a great job, especially when I think a lot of people are starting to get a little bit more hesitant again when it comes to these bigger guys. But open up your hearts because that spectacle still exists, and that was a hell of a main event. And it's the thing I liked most on Monday Night Raw. But it's not the only thing that I liked. I got a couple other items on the list. Let's get to those now, shall we? Let's talk about something that doesn't get a lot of love on Monday Night Raw or WWE in general right now, and that is the Cruiserweights. More misses than hits, it seems, although 205 Live has been better in recent weeks. They didn't get a whole lot of time on Monday Night Raw this week, but what the Cruiserweights did do in their one lone segment, I believe, was do something memorable and in a different way. All 4 men in this segment, Jack Gallagher, TJ Perkins, A-Double Austin Aries, and of course, the King, Neville, they all stood out in different ways. And I liked the match between TJP and Gallagher. It wasn't as good as their 205 Live match, but it was pretty solid. But I enjoyed the situation outside of the ring as well with Neville and A. Every time that Austin Aries pulls out a banana, it kills me. I'm sorry. I don't know why I find it so funny, but I do. I just really found myself being entertained by the entire segment. I didn't lose from this segment. I didn't feel like I had to leave the room. I enjoyed it. And most importantly, I'm starting to care about TJP again. Fuck, I did not think that was going to be possible, but I am. I'm starting to care about TJP, even with his awful music. I like this new change of attitude, and I hope that it's going to change his entire persona a little bit darker, a little bit more arrogance, because that's what works for him. He is an absolute star. He's just floundering at the moment, but he's starting to find water once again. I enjoyed this segment, and it was one of the things that really did get me going. I got one other thing that I really truly enjoyed on Raw. Let's talk about that. And it also included 4 people. And of course, I am talking about the Fatal 4-Way #1 Contenders Women's Match. Not only did I like the match, but I enjoyed the individual packages all 4 women got leading up to the match. Having Bliss and Mickie James on the roster adds this whole new groove to this division that was completely stagnant. The match itself, I was very entertained by it, and even that is despite Nia's continued sloppiness, which I got to be honest, I didn't care as much last week because I felt Charlotte really covered up a lot of it. This week, I'm a little bit less forgiving with some of the things that she's doing. Hopefully, that's going to stop because she is talented and I do like her a lot. But the rest of the women, I felt, picked it up pretty well. I do feel like it was a good performance overall with a great finish that highlights the uniqueness of Alexa Bliss. She's ferocious for her size. She's smart. She's a thinking woman's wrestler, which is nice. She's devious, taking advantage of Nia Jax going and destroying somebody else to get the pin. Thought it was a very good spot, very smart to put some instant credibility and more heat on Alexa Bliss. And I love that she didn't just placate her hometown crowd. When she came out and the crowd went cheering for her, She just gave him the old brush off, and I like that. I like Alexa Bliss. In fact, I love her. I think she's fantastic. Old school heel to the max. Those are what I really enjoyed on Monday Night Raw, but not everything was brilliant. Not everything worked. There were some things that I didn't like, and let's talk about them now. Okay, look, this pains me to do this. It does. But the fact is, not everything's going to hit in Monday Night Raw and WWE. And right now, this is the first thing that I just did not love about Raw last night. And it hurts me. It hurts me. I love Chris Jericho. In fact, Scarf of Jericho, baby. Scarf of Star Wars, Davico, baby. Man, that doesn't work. I look retarded. Anyway. I love Chris Jericho. You guys know that I'm a huge fan, but I got to be honest, I'm starting to feel like this entire run is running out of gas. He looks tired. He looks worn out. He's still doing the best that he can. I don't know. The match with Samoa Joe was just kind of meh, and it felt inconsequential. We both know these guys are going into different feuds, and it just didn't really feel like it mattered. And they didn't really seem to be clicking on the best of all cylinders. I don't know. I just think it's time to wrap this run up for Chris Jericho and come back at another time, which we know he will. He's not done yet. He showed how much he has left to give because he is absolutely a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever do it. I just think that the gas has run out on this run, but we'll see. That's the one thing I didn't like. There's a couple others. Let's talk about them. And let's go to something else that's just kind of bugging the balls off of me at the moment. Cass and Enzo. I don't think there are any two guys that I have soiled on as fast as these two. Maybe ever. Maybe ever. I was so high on them in NXT, and even when they first came up to Monday Night Raw, I was so high on these guys, and I love some of the things that they do, but God, are they a one-trick pony, and they just feel played out at this point. I just feel they could have benefited so much from that move to SmackDown, and it didn't happen. I don't know if anybody could have benefited as much from a change of scenery as Cass and Enzo. They just didn't. I'm just burned out with them. And honestly, they seem to be regressing in the ring. Cass in particular. Enzo's going to be Enzo. He's going to do the things that he does, and if you like him, you love him. He could be annoying, but that's part of his persona. He's a bump master, and there's all kinds of stories that Vince loves watching him getting ragdolled, which again happened in a match with Anderson and Gallows, the Club, the Good Brothers. That weird finish that just shit whipped Enzo into the corner. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm starting to completely, I'm tuning out. I'm just burned out on these guys. I'm done. I'm so done at this point. And that's unfortunate because I do like them. I like them so much, but there needs to be an added level. You know, the thing is, they always get that comparison to the New Age Outlaws. The Outlaws had an added depth. They had a fantastic worker and athlete in that team. Not only Road Dogg, you know, he's an Anderson. The guy knew, an Armstrong, excuse me, he's an Armstrong. The guy knows how to wrestle, but Billy Gunn, badass Billy Gunn, the one Billy Gunn, that guy could flat out go all the time, and you always had that. You don't have that with Cass and Enzo, and I think it's starting to show the cracks in the foundation. They're still going to get the pops because they got the great chant and cheer and all that stuff, but I think that we're going to see them become less popular as time goes on. What else did I like about Raw? Well, really only one thing, and for those of you who watch the show for a long time, you're not going to be surprised at this because the same problem is rearing its ugly head once again. What is it? It's Miz TV. It just didn't do anything for me. Once again, the problem, the book on Miz is his inconsistency. If you've been watching me, you know that I've been noting this for a very long time. When Miz is good, he's great. And I love Mike the Miz. I love that guy. I love him. But this character, this persona that he has, and Maurice doesn't always do him the best of favors, but really I only included it in this picture because it's the best part of Maurice. I mean, Jesus, who wouldn't want to have a picture of Maurice on every episode of every show that they ever do? Because just breathe it in for a second. I digress. The Miz has problems. Lots of problems, and it's consistency. He goes into just pure repetition. He's so repetitive. And yes, he did it in the Cena angle as well, which a program I did overall like. But there are problems with that program as well, and there's even programs going back further than that that just fell flat because of repetition and the same thing over and over. And he doesn't seem to have a lot of depth to his words. Like, he doesn't seem to have a lot of things that he can pull out of his hat and say that is things that we haven't heard before. It's the same things over and over, just like I'm doing right now. It's repetitive. And you can only go so long and care so much with The Miz. And that's a main problem for me. I'm not going to fault Dean Ambrose. Even though I kind of want to, I'm not. This feud has never worked for me. It didn't work on SmackDown. And I got to be honest, I'm more than a little pissed off that despite the shakeup, we are still stuck with this same boring matchup for what is supposedly a major title. They could have went a different direction, but they went with something that did not really work at SmackDown, yet they went and did it again here, and it just bothers me to no end. And I just didn't like it. So those are the things that I didn't like about Monday Night Raw. There's one final thing that I could go either way with. I'm a little worried, and that is going to be the thing that we're going to finish up here with. What is it? I'll tell you. Finn Balor. Now, don't rip my head off and don't think that I'm going crazy here with Finn Balor. Nothing. Don't calm down. This is just something I want to note. It's worrying me slightly. Yes, I know he just returned. And yes, I know that obviously they have something with Bray Wyatt planned in the near future. But 2 weeks in a row and 2 jobber matches in a row, one of which damn near caused a serious injury because you put him in there with the raging roid monster, excuse me, the guy who has never had a problem with the WWE wellness policy. I got to preface it like that because those are his words. Never had a problem with it. Never had a problem. Jinder Mahal. I just don't feel like it's doing Finn any favors. Yeah, I just don't. I'm going to give a lot of credit to the commentary team here, which is not something that I could say a lot about last night. But in here, they really put Finn over strong. I'm not in full-on worried mode here, but he needs a major storyline, and he needs it like now, real soon, because you do not want it. You don't want him to fall by the wayside, which I think that unless he's Demon Finn, it could be easy to do, and you don't want that to happen. This is not the 80s. This is not the 90s. This is not the time where you take a guy out of the limelight and you continue to have him bury jobber talent, and that's going to keep them in the forefront of fans' minds. It's a what have you done for me lately business now with this crowd, and they will turn, and I'm afraid that they will turn fast on Finn Balor. Hopefully that won't be the case. Like I said, I'm only slightly worried, but I don't think it's going to be a major concern overall. Speaking of overall, I think Monday Night Raw was pretty damn good. I enjoyed it. It entertained me. A rating, I'd probably give it somewhere around a 7, maybe a little bit higher. I thought it was a very good show. While we did note some of the things that didn't push all the right buttons, there was more than enough here, I think, to get us through 3 hours and make it something that you're going to remember going into. Yeah, epic sneeze. You know it's a good day when we have an epic sneeze. Going into not only SmackDown tonight, but next week's Go Home show for the next Raw pay-per-view. So we'll see how it goes. Now, that's what I thought, but what do you guys think? Hit me up in the comment section below. What did you think of Monday Night Raw this week? I want to know what you thought. What do you think of my hits and misses? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know in the comment section below, or hit me up on Twitter at Dead on Dave V. Thank you guys very much for joining us right here on Dead on Dave Productions. Make sure you're checking out everything that's going on within the channel. I'll be back live a little bit later on. Make sure you'll be here for Dead on Dave live viewer questions. All right, we will see you next time. Keep it copious, folks. And as always, if you don't have talent, have talented friends. See you next time. And peace.
Here's your winner,